Well, we got a caller from the 404 area code. You're now on the line with Hit the Ropes Radio. Who are we speaking with?
You are speaking with Nitro Girl Spice.
Hello. How is it going?
This is a perfect segue by Darius.
It's really funny. Those guys did not do well on that. That was a total, that was bad. It was such a perfect setup.
It was.
Well, we knew it was coming. That's why we did so bad. We had to look bad just so Darius can look good.
Beautiful. I like the strategy. A little good cop, bad cop action.
Yes. For those who are just tuning in, our special guest of the evening is is the spice of the Nitro Girls. But you don't go by that any longer. You're now a doctor.
Well, a little fact, I was a doctor back then too. And, I graduated from chiropractic school 6 months after the Nitro Girls. I was in my final quarter when we had our first opening show at the O Arena in June of, 97. And that's when I was graduating. I graduated in December. And I was the whole time through. I used to adjust the wrestlers in the back on any place that we could usually throw them down and get them back out on the ring. So it was just a little, hidden fact at that time.
Now, were you getting paid on the side for this, or they forced you to do this for free?
Well, you know what? I didn't actually come on to be the chiropractor, but actually because it's such a request and interest, it did become a serious conversation. And, my role at the time and my desire wasn't to try to split my time with them. So we, usually what would happen is we would go into cities, and a lot of times we'd have relationships with, the arenas would have relationships with local practitioners, be it, chiropractors, massage therapists, and just who some of the sports teams in the city would use. So if we ever needed somebody on site, we would have people in some of our key cities, and then, I can't tell you how many times I would get phone calls before, after shows, just going, Melissa, can you come help me out? So I was the go-to because I couldn't say no because they were like, my brothers. They were my boys. I'm not going to let people be all messed up. So.
I feel you.
Yeah.
My wife is a massage therapist, so I need to hook her up with our local arena then. It sounds like that's the way to go.
Absolutely. And you know what? We used to have a great massage therapist that she was located out on the West Coast, but she came to a lot of our shows, and I'll tell you, she became a very integral part because the guys need it. More than anything, soft tissue work is such a great, great thing for them. So that's a great way to suggest that to your wife. That's perfect. There's a need.
She's probably listening. She's probably heard that and probably wonder why I didn't do that years ago. But
you're in
that's
trouble.
Neither. Yeah, it's same thing, different day. But that's neither here nor there. Nobody cares about me at this moment. So why don't you fill us up? Since it's been a minute since we've seen you in front of the camera. What have you been up to now? Since you were a doctor before you stepped in front of the camera. What's going on with you now?
Well, oh my gosh, 10 years to fill in the gaps, right? That's kind of crazy. But
wow.
I guess, isn't that, when you put it in perspective, it is crazy because at times it feels like it was yesterday and other times it feels like it was a lifetime ago. So that's wild. But I guess the short version is after WCW, just to kind of give you guys the timeline and the chronological timeline, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I still had my practice. I had my practice the whole time that I was on the road. And then I also, all the girls, Fire, Tigress, Che, and Charmel, who before she became just Charmel was Storm, I guess. I'm trying to remember back to Storm in the Nitro Girl days. We all began a music group because we were actually pursued kind of by the music industry to be the next girl type of thing. So we had all done that. We did that for a while, probably about a year and a half afterwards, and then Charmel decided to go back into, because she had gotten her opportunity with WWE and to go back into that. So at that point, you guys knew Chiquita because she was one of the later Nitro girls. She came in, and we still did the music thing for a little while. And then when all that kind of fizzled and we went out to LA, we were on like 60 Seconds to Fame, and we got some good press out of it, and we had our little CDs and things, but we all loved to dance, but at the end of the day, we all had other passions. And so we decided that we could all just kind of we gave it our best shot and go on living our lives. And I really just sat down and said, and at the same time, subsequently, I was also getting a divorce because I'm sure everybody remembers back in the day I was Melissa Bellin, and that's not my name, obviously, anymore, and that was my married name at that time. So,
right.
And so we parted ways. We sold our office because he was also a chiropractor. And then I was like, okay, I can do anything. And, what I really have always loved doing, what, just is so wonderful is, of course, being in front of the camera, but it's never been about putting on a performance. It's just, it's a vehicle that I feel really comfortable in front of, and not everybody does, and I don't mean this from an ego place. It's just something that, some people are very comfortable in front of it and others not, and so I knew that kind of played a part in my path. And so long story short is I started my own healthy living consulting company, and I really knew that what I wanted to do, what was in my heart to do, was really to help get out there and just to help people kind of meet them where they're at, in their own ring of life, and just really help them to get more aligned with and in tune with just living the life that they really want to live, because so many people are sick, they're stressed, they're unhappy, they're suffering from a lot of different things, mentally, physically, emotionally. And hey, don't we all just want to feel good, and it's fun,
right.
and it's great, and it's engaging. And so I started my company, and that was, I guess, about 8.5 years ago. And then one of my old wrestling fans actually is an amateur golfer, and he's a pretty well-known announcer for like CBS and stuff like that in the golf world, and his name is Brian Katrick. And so Brian had called me up and said, Doc, he's like, and I used to go onto his weekend talk show and help as Spice and talk about chiropractic and wrestling and, how we keep our bodies just in a greater state of health. So he called me and he said, hey, I've got this golf show that I'm starting, and I really want you to come on and be my health and fitness, expert. Will you come and do it? So I said, sure. I had never really golfed. So I was like, hey, for you, BK, I'll do it. But beyond watching my dad and people in my life play golf, I was like, oh, crap, I better figure this game out pretty quickly. So luckily I was surrounded by really great people and some wonderful pros and PGA veterans and stuff in the industry. So I got immersed in golf really rapidly. And once I started learning, I just said, man, this is such a metaphor. This is such a spiritual metaphor. Like golf is, this game, and actually any sport can be, but when you really get out there, it's totally just you and the course and the ball and the moment. And It really is, you can get deep if you want it to go deep. And so I was like, man, this is right up my alley. Like this is understanding how to integrate the whole of ourselves, because most things are taught very mechanistic or piece and part, like golf. You're going to work on your short game, you're going to work on your drives, you're going to work on, chipping, putting, all those different variables, but very seldomly do you have an approach to golf that helps you actively integrate the mental component with the physical. So you spend all these hours with the pro or out at the range, and you're hitting these balls, and you're working on your technique, but when you go out on the course and you're under any kind of stress, it blows all that out the window because the mental factor comes in. So I created a program in golf called Flow for Golf, and it's a total mind-body training program, and it actually had, oh, this is terrible. Oh, my God. He's going to totally kick my ass. I'll come back to it. I'm like, oh, Mike, oh, my God. Larry Zabisco. Thank you. Larry was on the senior at that point. And so Larry actually had endorsed my product. He loved it. He gave me all these testimonials about he was so good with his physical game, but his mental game, just some of the basic stuff he had just no idea about. So that was fun. We did a few things together, but I did that program, did a lot with that, was on air, and that golf show actually was the #1 rated show